opened the drawer where Doc kept apples, ate them all, and then shut the drawer. When Doc laughed at his antics, Jim seemed to laugh too. "I wonder what else you could learn," Doc said. Jim lifted his chin as if to say, "Try me." Doc decided to take time off from selling liniment. Doc taught Jim one lesson at a time, repeating it and rewarding Jim with apples or sugar. First, Doc wrote the letter A on a card. He said A aloud, then put the card in Jim's lips, held them shut, and patted his neck. It took many months, but Doc never lost patience. Finally, when Doc asked Jim to fetch the A, Jim did it. They proceeded to B, then to C, until Jim knew the whole alphabet. In the following years, Jim learned to count and to pick out the primary colors. One day, watching Jim add and subtract, Doc cried, "Jim, we should go on the road. People will be amazed by how much you know. They will see that animals have feelings and it's wrong to make them suffer." "Wonder if Jim can do that in front of strangers," one of Doc's farmhands said. "Might just be sensing what you want him to do, not learning at all." Doc knew that Jim had truly been educated. He arranged for a show to prove it. At first, audiences couldn't believe their eyes, but soon they were gasping and cheering. Jim Key loved being the star of the show. The bigger the audience, the more he hammed it up. Jim spelled, made change from a cash register, danced to music, and bowed to ladies in the audience, flicking his tail and grinning. Jim and Doc traveled to fairs, small-town theaters, and big city arenas. But one day, Doc saw a newspaper headline. "Is Horse's Intelligence a Fraud?" The story asked, how could a little old black man with no education teach a dumb animal to do those things? The next day, there were hecklers in the audience. "This is all a trick," one shouted. "Some people are offended by your brain power," Doc said to Jim, "but children believe in you." Doc asked the local Board of Education to close the schools for a day so that every child in town could come to the show. The board replied, "We can't close our schools for horse shows or monkey shows." The insult made Doc more determined. "Jim, we have to find a sponsor. We can't fight prejudice all by ourselves." Doc wrote to the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. "Let us team up. Jim can help spread your message." "What if your act is a hoax?" they wrote back. "People already call us foolish for teaching kindness to animals." Doc invited them to come see for themselves, and they agreed, as long as the demonstration was secret. The big day arrived. Doc and Jim waited and waited, but no one showed up. Doc said, "I have another idea." Doc invited a team of professors from Harvard University to examine Jim Key and decide if he was really educated. The professors agreed. "You must wait outside while we examine Jim," they told Doc. They led Jim inside and shut the door. Doc waited patiently. A crowd gathered. Hours later, the door opened. The professors announced their findings. "It is not a hoax. Jim answered all of our questions. He can read, spell, do arithmetic, and identify colors entirely as a result of his education." Every newspaper carried the story. Jim Key, educated by kindness. The Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals agreed to sponsor Jim Key's performances. After the shows, thousands of schoolchildren signed a pledge that said, "I promise to treat animals with kindness." For 9 years, Doc and Jim Key traveled the country in a custom railroad car, delighting audiences of all kinds. Then they retired to a peaceful life on Jim Key Farm, where enthusiastic fans visited, and Jim was always happy to amaze them with what he knew.